When people, pro-Israelis, say, "Why don't you go to Gaza?" It annoys me because currently can we really go to Gaza? Netanyahu is blocking all aid from entering in and has closed the borders, and also has captured aid ships going into Gaza to deliver aid. If he's doing that, how can we as people possibly go to Gaza if nothing is allowed to enter in? Do you hear yourself speaking? Palestine is in shambles because of Israel and they're not allowing things to enter in and not allowing things to enter out, so can we really go to Gaza? Also going to Gaza will prove to us more how much pain is in Palestine. Your why don't you go to Gaza? Nonsense is dumb, because the only way we'll be allowed to go into Gaza is if Netanyahu lets us in, and then proceeds to show us the good fake parts to prove nothing goes on to make Israel's image better when we're not dumb to believe in that because since October 7th there's been so much of horrific things happening in Palestine by Israel that looking at all the real media shown about Palestine, it's distressing. So no, we won't go to Gaza because we can't. The people going to Gaza should be the world leaders to deliver aid to a population currently starving and stop this genocide, but why don't they do it? Why are the common folk the ones who care who are doing the job of risking their lives sailing to Gaza? I think the one in September is the third attempt to sail to Palestine. I think it's great. I hope they succeed this time. People say, Hamas supporters, when referring to Palestinian supporting people, but why are we labeled such when we support the people who are dying, being bombed, killed, losing their loved ones, being starved and other horrible things by Israel? We support Palestine because we want their suffering to end, yet we're labeled Hamas supporters. It's funny because we never supported them, Hamas that is, at all, at least I know I didn't, but in actuality if you see pro-Israelis who say this, they're the ones supporting the government, not us, and their actions against Palestinians, because anyone who calls us Hamas supporters or doesn't put the blame on Israel but puts it on Hamas are Israeli supportive and supporters of the government. It's true. Stop calling us Hamas supporters when our Palestine support is for the people alone and not the government. You guys supporting Israel are the real government supporters. There are so many Palestinian people who exist and they have no connection to Hamas. So, how can we be Hamas supporters for supporting the common people being slowly eradicated? We sympathize with the suffering Palestinians, that's all. There's no secret Hamas support coming from us. It's disgusting how y'all see us caring for a population being wiped from existence and come to the conclusion that we support Hamas. You guys don't have any brain cells if you think that us being human beings caring about others in a human way and being frustrated of what's going on in Palestine is something more than just support for the people. You guys should check yourselves before calling us Hamas supporters, because y'all trying to do all you can to bring Hamas into conversations with Israel nowhere near the topic of criticism shows who the real government supporters are. Hint, it's not pro-Palestinians. Mike Huckabee on Fox News claimed that Palestinians were not being shot and that he spoke to Palestinians and they said it was Hamas.
These reports that people are getting shot, and that when Bill Hemmer was there, and I know you were just there recently with Steve Witkoff, he said he could hear gunfire and he asked the IDF about it. Are civilians, Palestinian civilians, being shot at these humanitarian sites where food is being distributed by the IDF?
No. They are not being shot. There are all kinds of stories that they're just being massacred. The only time that has happened is when a large group overruns an Israeli position and they ignore verbal warnings. Then they ignore shots fired in the air and they ignore shots fired at the ground. But this idea that there is massive killing, I would only tell you it is. But when I asked the Gazans, here's what they told me. They said, yes, if people are getting killed going to the feeding sites, not the GHF sites. That has not been the case. But they do get killed, but they get killed by Hamas. And every single Gazan I spoke to told me that they had a family member that had been murdered by Hamas. These are the people that are supposed to be their government. Instead, they're their tormentors. And they're the ones who are responsible for the deprivation. They're the ones who are responsible for the disastrous consequences of now 22 months of this nightmare.
But did he really speak to Palestinians? Does he know Arabic to speak to them? Did the Palestinians he speak to know English to answer him? How did they communicate language-wise? It's dumb how much people like him put the blame on Hamas and try to blame them so much when there's no factual evidence, but so much of factual evidence of Israel wanting to occupy Gaza and eradicate Palestine. There's so much of evidence, it cannot be fake. Hamas didn't do nothing because they can't do anything in this current situation in an ongoing genocide. Israel is committing genocide and that's that. These people be doing too much to blame Hamas for everything, it's hilarious. It's sad knowing how many people don't care about what's going on in Palestine and don't feel for Palestinian people, but show support for Israel. Like, Palestinian people are being killed, bombed, starved to death and other horrifying things being done to them since October 7th, and the worst part about all of this is that the large number of Palestinian men, women and children who have died since October 7th can never come back. They can never be brought back to life due to this genocide because they left this earth too soon without doing anything wrong. They were killed by Israel for just wanting to live life. It's fucked up, man. Even with people who do survive in the end, once the genocide ends and the people get their freedom and ceasefire, there'll be people with so much trauma from trying to survive and make it out alive and avoid all the bombs, shootings, not dying trying to find food and water, etc. On top of that, people who survive will exist with trauma but also end up having lost arms or legs or something missing, because they were harmed by an Israeli strike. Palestinians are not terrorists. They do nothing wrong. They're being wiped from existence with Israel lying about doing anything wrong, but we see everything, we see through all the lies. We're not dumb enough to believe anything Israel says to defend themselves when there's a lot of evidence and proof of Israel saying horrible things about Palestine, and a lot of evidence and proof of Palestinians being killed, harmed, hurt and ending up dead, with a lot of footage available of Palestinians crying their eyes out because they lost a loved one, a family member killed by Israel. There's so much of media available from different sources and people that show everything, that Israel's lies will never work, and it has never worked since the beginning because we're watching. We see everything that no matter how you view it, it points back to Israel.